Hey folks, Rich here from City of Waterloo, and this week we're looking at the verses section of our song, of our community anthem. If you saw the video last week, you would be able to hear the lyrics and the guitar progressions, the chord progressions with Christa. And so I'm going to be adding the drum track to this verses. So the good thing about the verses for the drum set is that they're exactly the same for both verse 1 and verse 2. We don't have to worry about lyrics or the chord changes. The patterns that you're going to be playing on the drum are going to be exactly the same. Now, each of the verses in their full form are 8 measures in total, and it's broken into 2 phrases of 4 measures each. So I'm going to play for you what it's going to sound like, and then we're going to break this down into a phrase of 4 measures so that you can understand what you need to repeat in order to play the piece. So I'm going to play it for you right now. This is what it's going to sound like in its final form. And it's going to be played approximately 140 BPM, which is beats per minute on your metronome, if you want to practice with that before playing. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, fairly straightforward. You may notice that the cymbals are a little different from the last time. I moved up to 14-inch hi-hats and I changed my crash cymbal to an 8-inch splash just to make things sizzle a little bit differently. So let's break this down. So for the first 4 measures of verses, I will show you just the bass drum pattern. So what's happening on my bass drum pedal is I'm playing on 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. Now I'm going to repeat that for 4 measures, but the 4th measure there is a bit of a difference. Instead of playing 4 and of the 4th measure, I will remove that because we're going to be having this little cadence figure, little rhythmic riff at the end of it. So it's going to sound just like this. I'll play it nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 2, 2, and 3, 4, and 3, 2, and 3, 4, and 4, 2, and 3, 4, 1. So you'll notice that I don't play 4 and on that 4th measure. Now technically we're going to repeat that 2 times in order to play a full verses phrase. So let's try that right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 2, 2, and 3, 4, and 3, 2, and 3, 4, and 4, 2, and 3, 4, and repeat. 2 and 3, 4 and 2, 2 and 3, 4 and 3, 2 and 3, 4 and 4, 2 and 3, 4, 1. Okay, fairly straightforward. Now for the hands, I'll look at both the right hand and left hand to make it a little bit easier to apply to the kit. So we're basically going to start the beginning of the phrase of each 4 measures on a cymbal, and then measure 4 will be the most complicated, and I'll break that down after in a second as soon as I go through the first 4 measures. Here we go. So make sure my snares are on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. So let's look exactly what I did there on the 4th measure. So the hi-hat goes 1, 2, 3, and the snare goes 1, 2, 3, and 4. So together, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Fairly straightforward. So that's on the 4th measure of the phrase. So you're going to repeat that twice since the 4 measures phrase repeats twice in order to play the full verses. So let's try that together one more time. This time we're going to repeat this twice so that we can have the sense of the overall phrase structure. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. So that's it. So let's try this all together now. We'll put our bass drum and our hands together to play all 8 measures of the verses phrase. Here we go. Well, you're going to take this under tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, and 2, and 3, 4, and 3, 2, and 3, 4, and 4, 2, and 3, 4, 1, and 3, 4, and 2, 2, and 3, 4, and 3, 2, and 3, 4, and 4, 2, and 3, 4. Now that 1 takes us back to our chorus, which is a pattern that you've learned from week 2 of our video series. So please check that out if you haven't done so already. So now I'm going to play this up to speed for you so you have a better sense of practicing it in tempo. So Christa and I have chosen the metronome marking of 140 beats per minute, BPM. And so that should help you with your practicing of this. Obviously we want you to practice it slow in the beginning so you can understand the chord changes and the rhythms. And then for the final performance, which isn't, the material is not due until September, but we will have the month of August to get through this and practice it all. So our tempo, we are Waterloo. So here's our quarter note. 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 2, 4, 2. And that's it. So stay tuned for some hand drumming and also for our found sound section within the same video. Okay, so we're going to look at the hand drum section for verses. The pattern itself is going to be, again, based on the low and the high sounds. So we have our right hand playing our low sounds and our left hand playing our high sounds. Similar to the drum set pattern, we have the verses is a 8 measure phrase broken up into 2 sections of 4 measures each. So we'll look at just a single section of 4 when we break it down, but for the moment I'm actually going to play the entire verses section for you right now up to speed. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 2. So what did I do here? So let's break this down. Basically, my right hand for every 4 measures goes 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 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 1. Again, similar to the drum set, we're going to not hit 4 and of the 4th measure. This allows us to go on our high sound. So let's put the low sound and the high sound together. So the high sound is on beats 2 and 4. And then on the 4th measure, I'll show you in 1 second how that breaks down. Here we go. So let's just take this, just 4 measures, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3, 2, 3, 4, and 4, 2, 3. So on the 4th measure, we have 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So one more time. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So we have low, high, high, high. Fairly straightforward. So we're going to repeat that twice in order for us to do the full phrase within the verses. So let's try this together. Under tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 2, 2, 3, 4, and 3, 2, 3, 4, and 4, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 2, 2, and 3, 4, and 3, 2, and 3, 4, and 4, 2, and 3, and 4. Okay, let's try this now up to tempo. So we have we are Waterloo. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3. 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, I hope so. If you have any difficulty doing this, the reality is we can actually even make this a little more simple. We can simply do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3. So feel free if you're finding you're struggling or falling behind in the time of trying to keep this heartbeat doubled rhythm happening faster. You can actually just take out the ands and just simply play 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll be a little bit easier for you to stay in time. We certainly welcome you to, we don't want to discourage you from not participating simply because of the pattern is too difficult. So feel free to try this out and practice for the week, and we'll hope to see your videos in September. Okay, so for our segment with the found sounds, we're going to have the exact same instruments as we had obviously from our chorus. And so we have our egg poacher for our hi-hat, we have our mixing bowl for our cymbal, we have our 2 baking pans for our snare drum, and we have our Tupperware container with the lid on for our bass drum. So again, as our previous discussions in the earlier segments of hand drums and drum set, the verses is broken into technically 8 measures. And it's 2 measures, 2 phrases of 4. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play all the way straight through, and so you can hear what we want you to do potentially on the instruments of your choice from your kitchen or garage. And then we'll break it down slower so that you can try and learn along. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Straightforward. Now, here's what I've done. So my right hand is going to be playing the bass drum for the entire part. So I have 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 2, 2, and 3, 4, and 3, 2, and 3, 4, and 4, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. Similar to the previous instruments, we are not going to play 4 and of the phrase because we're going to be bringing our hand back over to the baking pans to play our rhythmic cadence at the end of the phrase. Our left hand is going to be doing a strike on 1 on the bowl to start the phrase, and then we're going to immediately come to the pan for beat 2, and then we're going to alternate between our hi-hat and our egg poacher and our baking pan, each quarter note, and then on the 4th measure we will play just beat 3 on our hi-hat, and then back into our for our rhythmic cadence 4. So I'll show you how just with one hand. So this is just the left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. And that's where I'm going to bring my right hand in. So that 4th measure, one more time, is 1, 2, 3, and 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now let's try this together with our bass drum, using our right hand and all of our other instruments. Just the first 4 measures of the phrase. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So now let's repeat that twice in order for us to fulfill the whole phrase structure of the verses section of our We Are Waterloo anthem. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3. There it is. So we're going to try this now up to tempo so that we can play this at performance tempo, which is going to be 140 BPM. Here we go. So we're thinking, we are Waterloo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, Okay, there it is. So if you choose to play either the found sounds or the hand drums or the drum set, we encourage you to submit your video. Please practice these verses first. Again, the verses 1 and 2 are exactly the same pattern. In between those verses, we basically go back to the chorus. So in the next few weeks, we're going to talk about the overall structure of the piece, so you'll be able to put everything together and start to be able to practice this piece as an entire tune itself. So we hope you enjoy our videos. Please subscribe in the link below. And as always, stay creative, for we are Waterloo.